Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Clicker Corner. I'm Kelly, a customer experience consultant with Crick Software. In today's video, I am going to share how Clicker can make predictable chart writing more accessible to many learners. Predictable chart writing is a collaborative learning activity where a group of students or whole class share the writing experience. The goal is to validate all students' ideas while modeling the writing process. I'm going to be using the Clicker Books app and the Clicker Writer app. However, all the resources I share are available on Clicker for the PC as well. To start, I have open here the Clicker Books app. You can see one of our sample books here called Teddy's Weather. One way to start the writing process is by using a mentor text. The book provides background information on the topic and encourages students to activate their prior knowledge. Our Learning Grids has hundreds of books on a wide range of topics. Let's go into Learning Grids by going to the middle of the toolbar to pull that down so that we can see our folder icon in the top left corner where we can select Learning Grids from the drop-down menu. I'm going to search for books on the topic of farms, and we're going to open up this first one here called Read a Book. A Read a Book is one type of Clicker book that is available in Learning Grids, and it is perfect for sharing on an interactive whiteboard. This could be for the teacher to read aloud, or students could have it on their individual devices to read more independently. Let's look at the book we have open here. This is our Read a Book called On the Farm. We can use the blue arrows to go through each page. Select the speaker button to listen to the story read aloud.
This is a farm. It has a farmhouse, barns, and
Students have control. They can turn the speech feedback on and off by using the speaker button. They can also select individual words to hear them read aloud.
farmhouse.
So if students want to read the text more independently but still need some support with listening to specific words, they can just click on a word to hear it read aloud. Once students have had some time to learn information on the topic, we want to encourage them to think more about this topic and get ready to write. We can open up our Clicker Writer app to look at our Clicker boards. When you open up our Clicker Writer app, in the blue toolbar, we can see we have our Document tab, which gives a nice space for students to do their writing, and then we have our Clicker Board tab. Clicker boards are mind mapping tools that are great for collecting information. This is one of our sample Clicker boards, but we can access Learning Grids the same way we did in our Clicker Books app by going to the folder icon in the top left-hand corner. Let's open a Clicker board on the topic of farms. So I am just going to search farm. I can use the filters here on the left to make it a little easier to find the resource I'm looking for. We are going to open this first resource called On the Farm. You can see the Clicker board opens up nice and bright. This one has a great visual in the center. As students share vocabulary and ideas related to the topic, words can easily be added to the cells by double-clicking. This stage of predictable chart writing encourages students to share their ideas. It supports communication skills and validates every student's contribution. So we're just going to pop a few ideas into the cells. Now, this Clicker board has multiple tabs that could be used to help writers that are ready to structure their writing a little bit. So here on the bottom left, we can see that this one has multiple tabs where students can think about different parts of a farm and add ideas that match the keywords here in each tab. So let's go back to our Animals tab, because we can use this Clicker board along with the document. We can send a diagram, an image for students to refer to as they work on their writing. So going here to the top left icon where we have the title of our Clicker board, On the Farm, we can select Send to Document. This is going to send an image back to our blank document where students can now think about how they want to start their writing. We can also add a sentence starter to this document. So this is going to be the predictable part of the chart writing, because as students share their ideas, we want them to start thinking about their ideas in a complete sentence. So we're going to have them all start with the same sentence starter. So we could start with I see. We could do something a little more challenging, such as on the farm I see. By encouraging students to use this sentence starter, they can then construct a sentence orally. So we might have someone say, I see cows.
I see cows.
We can hear our speech feedback, Ella. That's one of the voices that you can have in Clicker. She will read back the sentence when a punctuation mark is added at the end of the sentence. We also want to add the student's name. This will encourage them to share more, and again, validates that contribution to the predictable chart. So we've added that one. Let's add in a few more. We can say
Kelly, I see chickens.
that maybe Tim added that one, and we'll do one more. We did pigs.
Tim, I see pigs.
We'll have Jane. Now, this chart can be used for some choral reading. Students can come up to the interactive whiteboard as the teacher reads it aloud. They can use a pointer to point to each word in their individual sentences. The whole class can read it aloud. Students can now also refer to this chart when they begin their own writing. They might want to use their sentence along with some of their classmates' sentences. Predictable charts are also a great opportunity to highlight sight words, sentence structure, punctuation marks, and many more skills. And now that students have each shared a sentence for our predictable chart, we can then create a sentence set to support their sentence building while they're working independently. Our sentence sets are created around a model sentence. We can use the sentences that we've created here in our document to turn them into a sentence set, and then we can add some supports based on the needs of your students. To create a new sentence set, we're going to the grid icon here at the top toolbar, and we're going to select from this menu the first option, New Clicker Set. And here you can see our different types of clicker sets that we have available in Learning Grids. We also can create them from scratch right here from this menu. We're going to be selecting sentence sets. These are great for your earliest readers and writers because, again, they are created around that model sentence. Since we want to use the sentences that were in our predictable chart, we're going to add them by going to the plus sign here. And since we had multiple sentences, we're going to select Add Multiple Grids. Now, I could copy and paste right from that blank document, or you can simply type them in here. So I'm just going to quickly type them in, making sure that each new sentence is on a new line and that I'm using proper punctuation and capitalization. Now that I have my sentences in here, I'm going to select in the corner, the top right corner, Create Grids. When creating your own sentence set, it's important to think about the level of support that your students are going to need. And this might mean that you have different groups of students who need different levels of support. Here, where we have our model, we can have no model sentence available for our students. Students are just going to construct the sentence using the cells that we see here at the preview on the bottom. We can change that level of support to a view and copy model. This is going to show the students the sentence the entire time they're completing the activity. We could have a view and remember model, which is where the students can take a sneak peek at the sentence, but then in order to start building the sentence, they have to close out that model sentence. And then we can have just a listen model where students can only listen to the sentence. They can't view it. So let's put on the view and remember. We also can think about the order of the cells. So right now in the preview here on the bottom, the words are in correct sentence order. But here in the middle of my edit view, you can see that I can change that now to alphabetical order. I can put them in random order. And I can even have guided order, which is going to create an errorless activity. That means the student can only select the word that comes next. We'll leave that one on so we can check it out. Whether you're creating a sentence set from scratch, like we're doing here, or editing one that you find in Learning Grids, there are other ways here in Edit View that you can support your students. You can think about maximizing the cell height to make a larger target for your students. You can change the grid color, the cell color. We can even add in visual support for students that might need that. That's an option here in Edit View. To check out the sentence set once you're done editing, we can click the Go arrow in the top right. And now we can see at the bottom of the screen is our clicker set. Our sentence set sits here at the bottom. We decided on a view and remember model, which means when I select the I icon, I can see the sentence. I can tap the sentence to hear it read aloud.
I see cows.
But then I can't access any of the cells to build my sentence until I close that model. We also chose guided order, which means that the student can only select the cell that is highlighted, and it's going to guide them through that sentence, including the punctuation mark.
I see cows.
And that sentence will be read aloud. Today, we looked at just some of the ways Clicker can support predictable chart writing. It's important to transfer students' ideas from predictable charts to their independent writing, and Clicker can support your students and make writing more accessible. Watch our entire webinar on predictable chart writing in our Clicker Learning Hub, which you can find on our US website. You can also book a free 15-minute customer care meeting to discuss using Clicker with your students. To book these meetings, you can also find our link in our Learning Hub. I look forward to connecting with you soon.